This is a movie to show you how to log into WebCT and give you an overview of how the course flows in an online format. We're starting here at the Google site for BioSci 172, and this has a link right here to WebCT. WebCT is the course software that's used to deliver the content for this course online. So if we go ahead and click that link, it'll open up a new page that's hosted by Contra Costa College, and it's the WebCT login page. So you go ahead and click this Login To button, and you'll see a login page. And your WebCT ID is your student ID number. It's the one you use to interact with Contra Costa College. It'll be on WebAdvisor. It'll be on paperwork that you have from Contra Costa College. If you don't know your student ID, you can email me, and I should be able to access that information as long as you're registered for the class. For the password, your ID is student. If you've never used WebCT before. STUDENT in all capital letters. If you've used WebCT at Contra Costa College before, you may have set a password that you know, and hopefully you remember that. If you do not remember your password, we will have to reset it with James Eyestone's help, and you can email me or him to help that happen. So go ahead and put your student ID in the ID and password, either student or whatever your own password is, and log in. When you log in, you'll get to your My WebCT page, and it'll have one or many courses, depending on how many Contra Costa College courses you've taken that use WebCT. Of course, we're taking BioSci 172, so go ahead and click on the appropriate class and section for that. And you should get a view that looks like this. I get a different view as the designer of the course right at first, but your view should look much like this. Might be a little bit different. The important thing is that this is the home page, right? There's a course menu along the side, and it has different choices of pages, which will change throughout the class. And you can use the menu over here to navigate around the class. On the home page here, right, we've got a welcome letter and a course guide, and those are the two documents we're going to look through with the rest of this video. So if we click on welcome letter, this is a letter that gives you a lot of information about how this class will run. So go ahead and read that through, maybe pause this YouTube video while you read, and then I'll come back with you to discuss a few points. Are you sure you read the letter? Okay, so let me go through a few main points. You do need to read this all on your own. First, and it's a very important point, is that every week you have to spend at least 9 hours in class. That's how much you'd spend in class for a summer class, and that's how much you need to spend for this summer class. Just because it's online doesn't mean it takes less time in front of the teacher, which in this case is the computer, right? This is sometimes harder to do than showing up in a real live class because you have to use your self-discipline to make sure you spend the appropriate amount of time. To help you out, I've put this thing called a module checklist below, and we'll go through that in just a little bit. Another weird thing about online classes is that you won't necessarily see your classmates or talk to them on a regular basis, and you can start to feel a little bit alone. We do have lots of discussion online to try to make us feel less isolated in this class. And when we have discussion, we need to follow some etiquette to make sure that everybody is respected and treated appropriately. We'll go through that in a second. And then we have a list of technologies you need to be able to access to do the coursework, and I'll go through that in a second. So here's some quick lists of things you need for this class. One is this module checklist, which you'll go through every time. It's kind of like a chapter or a week in a lecture class. You'll log on, you'll get to the correct module number, and those are over to the left. Here's module 1, which you'll be visiting soon. There are going to be some pre-lecture resources, which sort of get you prepped for listening to the lecture. Then there are lecture materials. Those are going to be words, pictures, podcasts that you'll listen to, web pages that you will visit, movies that you will watch, and embedded into these lecture materials are worksheets, which will be very important for this number 5, which is take the quiz. To make sure that you've viewed and experienced the lectures every module, there's a quiz that will test your understanding and participation. There are also discussion questions that you will be responsible for responding to, and you will discuss in discussion forums online with your classmates. And you'll need to visit 2 or 3 times to make sure that you continue the discussion over a couple of days. To make sure that you have a clear thought at the end of the discussion of each topic, there'll be an assignment related to each discussion that you will hand in to me via this WebCT tool. And a couple times throughout the class there is a report, and at the end of the class there is an exam, but those don't happen every week. The due date for most things is Saturday evening, so you'll have a lot to do each week, but the final deadline will be Saturday evening, and I certainly encourage you to work on it throughout the week, not just in a scramble on Saturday, because you don't have 15 hours every Saturday, I don't think. Quick thing about discussion etiquette. It's really nice to say who you are when you're posting a note. Just say this is, and whatever your name is. And if you're responding to something in particular that someone said, remind everybody what you're responding to. Don't just launch into, oh wow, I think that was a good idea. Say, Jerome's post about sunflowers and bunny rabbits was interesting and I wanted to respond, just to help everybody know where you are thinking. It's also important to be respectful. Don't call people stupid or use profanity. Say, but you can have an opinion and you can disagree with people. You just want to frame that in a much nicer way. Okay? The final thing to make sure you work on near the beginning of this class is that there are a lot of technologies we use. What you're looking at now is a WebCT page, right? And it's got this course menu along the side. There's also going to be something called iTunes U, which is where you're going to listen to the podcasts, and there's another instructional video about how to use that. You will certainly email me. It's a great way to interact. You can try the phone. It's not my best way to interact. Email will be better, but you can try. I will sometimes through the summer be in my office, which is Biology 4. And of course you can make appointments to visit with me. You definitely need access to a computer, and it needs to be reliable and at least 10 hours a week. So plan on that. As far as software goes, you're using a web browser such as Internet Explorer, Firefox, or Safari to look at WebCT. So if you're this far, you've got a web browser. You will need some kind of word processing software on your computer, things like Microsoft Word or OpenOffice.org Writer, or you can even use Google Docs. MS Word, of course, you have to pay for. OpenOffice and Google you can use for free. Since a lot of this content will be delivered through podcasts, if you're going to be listening in a public place, you will need some headphones so that the whole world doesn't need to listen to me. This is delivered via iTunes, so if you have an iPod or an MP3 player, something like that, you can download the podcast to that and listen there if you don't want to listen on your computer. And YouTube needs to be enabled in whatever device you're using so you can watch videos. I do use a lot of great content developed by other folks and posted on YouTube, and you are required to watch those. Final point for this page is that sitting at the computer can be bad for you if you don't get up and stretch. If you're young, you might not have noticed this yet. If you're older, you probably have noticed this. You've got to get up and stretch every 15 to 30 minutes, no matter if you're going to spend hours at the computer all at once. That's your decision, but you really need to watch out for your body when you're using a computer for extended lengths of time. So make sure you get up and stretch. There are lots of pauses in my lectures, and those might be a good time to think about stretching. To get back to other parts of WebCT, we don't want to be stuck on the welcome letter forever. You can go back to this course menu or across this little gizmo to the top and get to the page. So we can go to home page again, and look, there's the course guide. The course guide has similar information as to the welcome letter. It's something you may want to use throughout the week. We've got this module schedule as we went through, and then there's a long version. If you get confused the first few times, if you follow this, you will really know just how to work through the class. Okay, I think that's all I want to say for this this first introduction to WebCT. There are some other videos. I'm going to go back to the Google webpage. Right, there are other videos with a link down here that give you tutorials about how to do a lot of different parts of this class. And so if you need them, they are here for you within the BioSci homepage.